All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, we are live right here in full effect, and we got the one, the only, we got Rudy, Rude Boy Hill, right here of Psychopathic Records live on the line. How are you doing this evening?
Man, I'm doing so great. First, I want to thank you for allowing me to grace your airwaves out there in Canada. I love you guys. Man, we had so much fun when we were up there doing Juggalo Day. I hope and pray that we can get out there soon enough after this pandemic thing is over, man.
I hope so as well, man. Like, right now, we're still at square one, man, and we're going into the, I believe this is the second year of it, man, so we're not improving at all down here in Canada.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, though, this has been something that is straight up like crazy biblical, that a pandemic could take over the world like it did. And I remember talking to Violent J a week before they shut everything down, and I laughed. I was like, man, come on, man, everything ain't going to shut down. And he was like, Rudy, I think it is. Next thing you know, the NHL shut down, the NBA shut down, and you know when you're talking about those big major corporations shutting down, it's serious.
I most definitely agree, man. I remember when NBA actually shut down. I was watching it on TV, man. I started whipping shit at my TV. I was like, damn, man, I want the Raptors to play.
Well, the crazy thing is that, you know, it's like for that brief moment in time, the whole world stood still and said, now what do we do? And little by little, it's starting to come back around. But you know what? It is still so important, man. It is so important to stay safe. Let me tell you something, Brother Immortal. I lost 13 people in 6 months due to COVID-19. I hadn't lost 13 people in 6 years. But in 6 months, I lost 13 people close to me, and you know, I used to laugh about it and everything, but I'm going to tell you what, it's real, and just stay safe. That's all it's about, man.
I just want to say, man, my sincere condolences, man. That's way too many losses to suffer. I'm not saying any loss is good, but that's a lot of losses to really, like, you know, just wrap your head around in such a short period of time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the sad part is, you know, here in the United States, we had some crazy ass in the White House who was telling us, don't worry about it. It's just going to go away. Just live life the way it is. And the fact of the matter is that science was like saying, are you crazy? You're costing people's lives. And the bottom line is, and I'm not getting political here, but the fact of the matter is that we had a guy in there who just didn't care. And that's the bottom line.
But I gotta ask you, Rudy, I want to take you back, man, to a time when the world was much simpler for all of us, man. I want to take you back to the beginning of your career within music. And I gotta ask you, man, what actually inspired and sparked the legendary career of Rudy Rude Boy Hill?
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, me, Joe Bruce, Joe Usler, Insane Clown Posse, Shaggy, and Violent J, you know, we grew up together in Detroit, and we all had big dreams. So I'm talking about I was going to be the next, you know, world wrestling champion, and you know, ICP, they were going to be the next Ghetto Boys and NWA. And, you know, here's the deal with us, though. We were go-getters. We were people who said, you know what, if it's obtainable, we're going for it. And we're talking about 3 guys, actually 4. I can't forget about John Kitcass, John Usler, rest in peace, original member of Insane Clown Posse. We, all of us, collectively, we said, man, we're going to make this thing happen. None of us had high school educations. None of us had any real music knowledge, no background in that. However, when you have drive and you really want to make it, you go for it. You do it. And let me tell you something, brother. I just turned 50 years old a couple months ago. And looking back on my life and my career, let me tell you something. When people tell me, man, I wish I would have or I could have, I say, damn it, why didn't you do it? I did. Go out and do it. And it's just about having the drive. And even to this day, Brother Immortal, I swear to you, I still
And speaking of that, man, I actually had that in our question list. But since you brought up brother Mike, I got to bring this up, man, because Mike Shepard, also known as Kid Vicious to the internet world on Instagram, man. I want to give him a giant huge shout out as well, man, because he actually just landed a job for ROX-TV as well, which anybody that knows ROX, man, for not just music but wrestling, that's actually, excuse my language, but fucking phenomenal. So congratulations to Mike for just landing that job.
Well, the bottom line is with Mike Shepard is he is the future of, and I mean this, and I'm not just saying this because he's writing my book, but let me tell you something. I've been around many biographies. I've been a part of many biographies, and this guy is the cream of the crop. And why wouldn't he be working with ROX-TV and all that cool crew over there? Why wouldn't he? Because he is the shit, and he really is. And I'm not just saying this because, one, he's writing my book and I don't want him to fuck it up, but two, I just think he really sincerely believes in what he does, his craft, and he's so good at it. He really is immortal.
But I gotta ask you as well, man, how did yourself and Mike initially get connected? Like, what's the story behind that partnership?
Well, the cool thing was he came to interview me at, me and my son, DJ Carlito, we do a old school show on Friday and Saturday nights called Cruising the Barrio. And he came into our studio at Cave Studios in Detroit to interview me for the Project Born book that he's writing, or has already written. And him and I, we just started kicking it. And I was like, man, this guy is really cool. And I was about 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with early term dementia. I've had 27 concussions from wrestling. So I've been losing a lot of my memory. And DJ Carlito, my son, has been telling me, man, you have these incredible stories of 30 years in the entertainment world, and you're forgetting them, Dad. Man, you gotta write the book. You gotta tell the world. And Violent J told me the same thing when he found out I was diagnosed. He was like, Rudy, man, it's time to sit down and tell that story, man. It's fascinating. And so next thing you know, I started telling Mike Shepard about it. And Mike right away said, man, let's get to work. Let's do this. And I'll tell you what, man, it's been about 8 months now, and he's got some incredible interviews with a lot of cool people. Violent J of Insane Clown Posse is writing the foreword to the book. We're excited about it. And again, I really wanted to trust the author who's telling my story. And after kicking it with Mike and after getting to know him and getting to know his family, he's got such an awesome family. And, they come out to the wrestling shows and everything. And I just felt like, man, he was like a brother from a long time ago that I could really open up to. And let me also tell you this, Brother Immortal, that doing these biographies, they open up a lot of wounds, man. They open up a lot of, things that I thought I suppressed in my life. And some of it is therapeutic. Like, I'll sit back and me and Mike will have a session where he's just recording and asking questions, and I feel like I'm seeing a great psychiatrist, to be honest.
But also as well, man, I gotta say that book absolutely sounds phenomenal. I gotta say, what is the estimated release date of this book? Because I know it's a book and it probably takes a long time to make. But when are you guys trying to get it out?
Here was the thing. I promised Mike, and we made a pact together that we weren't going to rush this. We were going to make sure that it was done thoroughly and to the point and most honest. And even though, like I told a lot of people in my life, a lot of ex-girlfriends and all this stuff, this may hurt a little bit, but this is my story, and I have to keep it as real as possible. So, to be honest with you, I won't even lie to you, Immortal, and tell you that, hey, it's going to come out in 6 months or whatever. We have no date, but we have 400 pages already. That is just, I can't even believe it. And you got to think about this. You're talking about 30 years in the entertainment world and 50 years as a man who, straight out of high school started having children and started going to work right as a kid, all the way up until now where I've I've had some nice success in my life and still telling stories. So we're not really pushing a date as of yet, but I'm sure Mike will have more information than I do as far as the finished product.
And also as well, I read that you actually one time almost got into a fight with a member of Kid and Play. And see, I'm a fan of Kid and Play, man. So when I heard that, I was like, you know what? I really want to hear this story.
Well, the story is, and this is going back. Oh my God! It was during the Riddle Box era, and myself and Violent J, we went to this rap convention. They used to have a rap convention every year in Miami. And it was called the Jack the Rapper Convention. And all of the hip-hop community would come together for a weekend, and you would, try to get your demo heard and all this and that. But really, to be honest with you, it was nothing but a big-ass party is what it was. And so Violent J and I, we had been drinking real heavily this Saturday afternoon. And we were in the hotel lobby, and I was waiting in line. All of a sudden, this guy steps in front of me, and it's Kid from Kid and Play. And I'm like, yo, hey, what are you doing, man? And he just kind of looks back at me. And the bartender's like, hey, you know that's Kid from Kid and Play. And I was like, I don't give a fuck who that is. I'm Rudy from Rudy Hill, man. And then next thing you know, we started arguing back and forth, but it didn't really escalate into nothing. It was more comical for me and Violent J. We were laughing our asses off. We're like, oh my God, man, we almost got beat up by Kid from Kid and Play, even though we would have slaughtered his ass. but that was just one of the many stories that is in the book of Jack the Rapper Weekend, where not only did we get into it with him, but we had some words with Curtis Blow. We had some words. Oh, Rude Boy. You got to read the book. Rude Boy actually pissed off the whole Death Row staff for a brief second. I'm so glad we got the hell out of there before it escalated into anything. But yeah, it was a wild weekend. But that's just a little bit of what's in the book, and. It's real fun, man, and I think everyone's going to enjoy it. If you love music, because I'm a music aficionado. If you love wrestling, I've been wrestling for 30 years. I've wrestled everybody. I've wrestled Dusty Rhodes, Terry Funk, Honky Tonk Man, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Abdullah the Butcher, all of the big names from back in the day. And so there's stories for that. And if you just like, to hear a story of a kid who came from the slums of Detroit, Southwest Detroit, and made something of himself when everybody said, you're not going to do shit with your life. You're going to be a drug dealer or you're going to be in prison, just the way that it's written. And I am a motivational speaker now, Immortal, where I go to schools and I go to churches and whatnot and tell the kids, hey, look, man, I'm from where you're at. And guess what I did? I went around the world several times, and you can do it. And it's just that simple.
And I gotta ask you as well, man, because me personally, I'm a huge wrestling fan. I know maybe not a lot of our listeners are. They came for the hip hop, but I gotta ask, man. I'm a huge Terry Funk fan. What was it like being in the ring with that crazy son of a bitch, man? Because that guy would do anything, man. Terry Funk was crazy back in the day.
Terry Funk is still a really good friend of mine to this day, and Terry Funk is not in the best health right now. And I invite everybody to send him out a little message on Instagram. He's at Dirty Funker. Check him out. Just send him some love. Being in the ring with Terry Funk was magical, Immortal. Let me tell you the reason why. Because not only was I in the ring with Terry Funk, but at the same time, in a three-way dance in front of 12,000 juggalos, it was Rude Boy against Terry Funk against the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. And I couldn't stop smiling the whole time while I was wrestling these guys. And it was just one of those dreams as a kid that came true. And man, I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. And I've like I said, I've actually became good friends with Terry, and I love him, and I keep him in my prayers every day.
And I heard about that as well, that he's not doing well, man. I gotta say, he's a hardcore legend. He was a hardcore legend before ECW was even around, man. Terry did some phenomenal things, and I just want to say my prayers go out to Terry Funk, and I hope, he actually makes a full recovery and gets back to as full 100% as soon as possible.
He's a great man. He really is. And, when I had open heart surgery, about 8 years ago. And Terry Funk was one of the first people to send flowers to my bedside. And, that's in the book, too. A guy overcoming having open heart surgery at such a young age, dying twice on the table. When I woke up from surgery, I had never been in the hospital before in my life, Immortal. And I went in for a routine checkup, and I told my doctor, I was like, man, I have some weird chest feelings, and he was like, it's probably just indigestion, but let's just put you on this EKG machine and see. So they did, and within 24 hours span, they had me having major open heart surgery. And when I woke up, I had all these blisters all over my chest, and I was like, what the hell's going on? And what had happened was I had died, and they had to hit me with the paddles. And those things cause blistering. And so, I don't take my life lightly at all these days. And it's really, for those of you who are out there, man, if you feel like you're not feeling good, get yourself checked. It might just save your life. You never know,
And I gotta say, man, I am so glad to hear that you are still here with us today, man. You know what I mean? Because if you weren't, I wouldn't be able to talk to you, and of course, this book would not be a reality, man. So I'm so glad that you're still here with us.
I'm thankful too, man. I really am. When they told me, I was going to be speaking with you, I was really excited about it, and I'm really excited when anybody wants to hear my story, and I go way back with Canadian hip hop, man. I'm an old school Maestro Fresh West fan, dude.
Hey, man, you can never go wrong with Maestro Fresh West, man. You can never go wrong with him. Canadian hip hop pioneer down here in these parts.
I swear to God, when I went back in, I think it was 1988, Public Enemy was doing a show in Windsor, Ontario, Canada, and me and my little brother, man, we were like, man, we're going, because we just live in Detroit, so it's just, across the river. And I remember going into the Windsor Arena and just seeing all of these people going crazy for Maestro Fresh West, and I was like, who the hell is this guy? And from that moment on, man, I instantly became a fan, and I was really impressed. I got good fond memories of that night. That was a lot of fun. And on top of that, man, you talk about Canadians, man, because we live so close to the border, I became a big fan of OHL hockey. Not NHL, OHL. I love OHL hockey. And the London Knights are my team. I love them.
Hey, man, you can never go wrong with some OHL. They play some good hockey, man. You know what I mean?
Yes!
At the end of the day, man, me personally, that's like that's a future of the NHL, in my personal opinion. Not all of them will make it, but they're still all good enough to at least play in the NHL.
Well, I was a season ticket holder for 5 years. Then they moved the team when they were called the Plymouth Whalers in Plymouth, Michigan. Then they moved them out of town, and I was like, this sucks. But, yeah, man, those guys are out there trying to earn their spot, and I love it, man.
And also as well, man, I actually read something that you actually got the opportunity, you actually got invited by Dick Clark to hang out, man. I got to say, what was it like just hanging out with Dick Clark?
Well, let me tell you this. This was during the time when I was managing Esham, one of the great pioneers of rap. Someone who, if there was no Esham, there wouldn't be no Insane Clown Posse, there wouldn't be no Kid Rock, there sure as hell wouldn't be no Eminem because he stole all of his shit. Esham and I, he just put a record out called Repentance, and his publicist invited us. She knew Dick Clark, and she talked to Dick Clark. So, long story short, we got to walk the red carpet at the American Music Awards, and immediately following ceremonies, all of a sudden these two big guys came over and they're like, "Hey, you guys, Mr. Clark would like for you to join us for the annual party, after party." And we looked at each other, we were like, "Sure, we'll go. Why not?" And so we go into this ballroom inside the Shrine Auditorium in Beverly Hills, California, and it's just beautiful. And Dick Clark comes up. He says, "It's nice to meet you, Isham." Not Isham, Isham, which it didn't matter what he called us. He was greeting us, which was cool. And then they had us sit at a table. It was pretty cool because they had us sit at a table with James Gandolfini, who was Tony Soprano, his wife, and him. China from WWE, and what's his name? Damn it. He has the show at nighttime. Jimmy Kimmel, and he was dating Sarah Silverman at the time. So we all sat at this table together, and I just remember looking at Isham, and we were just like, "This is great, man. How great is this?" And here's how foolish we were, and how oblivious we were to everything that was going on. On our way out, leaving the party, they had these gift bags. And we just looked at each other and we were like, "Man, we're not touching those gift bags, man. Come on, man. We're superstars here." So we walk out, and then we find out what's in the damn gift bags, man. And there's a trip to Hawaii, and there's a Movado watches, and like the gift bag's like $10,000. And we just walked past it like we're too good for it. So that's another story from the book, too.
I'm not even gonna lie to you there, Rudy. My white ass would have ran back in, being like, "Hey, I forgot my coat or something."
Yeah, we just thought we were just Hollywood, and that's what we were doing. And then immediately after that, we went to another party, and we ran into Pamela Anderson and Kid Rock, who were together at the time, and it was a crazy night hanging out on the dance floor with a little known young artist by the name of Pink, who was really cool, and got to know her really well, and it was really cool, man. And Lionel Richie's daughter, and it was cool. Nicole Richie, we're still friends to this day.
But I gotta ask you, Rude Boy, what is next for you, man? Like, because obviously you have the book going right now, and I know with COVID, I don't know the whole COVID situation out in Michigan, but I know probably like the wrestling events are probably held up right now. But what is next for Rudy, man? Like, is there anything I missed during this interview? Anything else you still want to talk about or promote? We'll still have you here live on the Canadian airwaves.
Yeah, you know what I'd like to promote? I'd like to promote my son and myself. We've owned a wrestling company for a long time, and you mentioned it about ROX-TV, and it's called International Big Time Wrestling, and you can watch it on YouTube. And it's just really throwback to the old school days of the good and evil, bad guy, good guy wrestling, and just family fun. A whole family can sit down together and nobody gets offended. Everyone enjoys themselves watching it. And we actually are going to be opening up to the public on Sunday, May 2nd. We're having a show in Trenton, Michigan at the Trenton Event Center, the Jefferson Event Center. And it is a benefit for a wrestling legend in Detroit who I used to carry his bags into the arenas when I was a kid. His name was The Bug, and he died 2 weeks ago. He was the 13th person that I knew who died of COVID, and it broke my heart so bad. And we decided that we're giving 100% of the proceeds to his family. And he was just a great man. He was a great father, a grandfather, and he was a guy who really paved the way for Rude Boy to become a professional wrestler. And he's in the book, too, and I'm so thankful, and I'm so blessed that Mike Shepard got to sit down with him before his untimely death. And so we got that going on, and like I mentioned earlier, Cruising the Barrio, if you like that old school hip-hop, if you like that old school funk, then you definitely want to check us out Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard, 7 p.m. Pacific West Coast, exclusively on CKOR-DB It's Cruising the Barrio with Rudy and Carlito, Clark, and the whole crew. And that's the internet wrestling, let me say this. The guys that are there, they are there kicking ass. And let me tell you something. Each and every one of these guys are busted. They're like the OHL of professional wrestling. They're earning their spot. And a lot of these guys have big futures in wrestling. And I'm proud to say that we have these guys. And, again, Immortal, you know, like, I've got a lot going on, man. You know, and life ain't slowing down for me, buddy.
Hey, it most definitely sounds like you're keeping busy, Rudy, for sure. And that's the best way to be, especially during these terrible times.
That's right, sir.
But also, Rudy, this is the time in the interview that I give a chance for the individual that does slide into the radio station airwaves. Just a chance to give shoutouts to whomever they want to give shoutouts to. But most of all, man, your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated everything Rudy if they're not already doing so.
Absolutely. You can check me out at Rudy Hill on Facebook. You can check me out at Rude Boy Love. That's Luv on Twitter. You can check me out on Instagram at Rude Boy Love. You can you can find us on ROX-TV, ROXX TV Detroit on YouTube. And, you know, there's one thing, you know, I don't really want to shout out anyone, but what I'd like to do is what I always do, just to let everyone know, everyone in the world, we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. Be good to one another. Take care of one another. God bless you. Thank you, Immortal.
I gotta say, man, you are most certainly welcome, man. Thank you so much again, and I'm looking forward to your book. And most of all, man, stay safe during these terrible times, man.
I appreciate you, brother.